All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we start questions, I just would like to remind everyone to please wait for a microphone to be brought to you before asking your question and state your name and news outlet. We'll go ahead and get started for the first question for General Manager Ross Atkins.
Scotty?
Scott mentioned the ascent. Ross, obviously this day has been talked about for a long time. As you sit here today, what do you think this day means for this franchise?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Like, it's, as he walked into the clubhouse yesterday and, seeing him here just put a massive smile on my face. So, I think that's what it means for so many. It's one of the many reasons we love sport, but it's an exceptional day for many reasons.
Ross, Marley Rivera, ESPN.
Hi, Marley.
Hi. How does one temper expectations?
Yeah, that's, Vladdy will. Vladdy will. He has handled everything so well to date, and there has certainly been a great deal of expectation already. And, I think the thing about Vladdy that is one of the many exceptional things about him is his warmth. And I think because of that, people are going to gravitate towards him, his teammates, fans, executives, coaches, and that will help others feel comfortable, which will in the end help him just be who he is and be himself.
Hey, Ross. John Morosi, MLB Network.
John?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
What made this the right time for him to come here?
Well, one of the things that made it's interesting, if you look at like Mookie Betts, his dad, the number of at-bats of young high school players transitioning into to the major league stage are in and around that 1,200 mark, and that's one of the reasons that there's a lot to be said for progressing through the minor leagues. And one of the great things about professional baseball is having the opportunity to do that. The other thing that I feel so strongly about, and we feel so strongly about, is the environment that we have. I think having staff members that know him well, guys that have worked with him, Guillermo Martinez, John Schneider, people on the performance side that have worked with him, and Jose Menestral. There are so many people. I think the overall environment and tone that Charlie Montoyo has set is a very good one for a young player to transition into. Excited about the impact and influence that Justin Smoke and Freddie Galvis will have on him, and ultimately he's healthy, and that was the most determining factor. Want to make sure that he had plenty of time to get into a position to make. We wouldn't want someone to make their debut and not be ready for that physically. Rosie?
Hey, Ross.
Hi, Rosie.
Rosie DeMato, Toronto Star. You can speak to him in Spanish, so what have you said to him over the last 24 hours since you've been exposed?
Yeah, it's interesting, Rosie. I've thought about that. I thought about if there was something I could say that would potentially help him, and then I quickly thought about the people that influence him and have influenced him for some time, and Altagracia and Vladdy Sr. and Wilton and all of the coaches and scouts that have been in and around him for his entire career. His baseball community is elite and exceptional. I don't believe in unsolicited advice, but my goal in my first interaction with him yesterday was to make him smile back.
Ross, just on your left here, Rob Left, Global News. What are your expectations for Vlad right away, season one? Do you expect him to be an impact player right away for this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any other player. We expect them to be themselves and professional and give us a good effort. And the performance, I would expect his to be exciting. I would think that there's going to be moments of excitement, and I think there's going to be moments of growth too for him. There almost always is, even with the best players.
Ross, Matt Cullen with CBC Radio Canada back
Oh, there you
hey
are.
there.
All right.
There's incredible interest in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. across the country, obviously with what his father did in Quebec with the Montreal Expos. What have you told him about managing some of these expectations? Just the excitement overall in Canada is tremendous right now.
Yeah, again, like his baseball community is so special. So we have a Canadian-born Dominican baseball player, son of a Hall of Famer, that is coming into Canada to play for this great city and country. It's such a good baseball story, and he's so aware of it. I think his experiences in Montreal last year, his experiences as a young man growing up and having experiences in Montreal, he's more aware than most of our young players of what it means to play for a city and a country. And since 2016, all of those interactions are abundantly clear, and I can't imagine him having been in much better hands. And it's all the people that were here before I was here, and the impact that Luciano del Rosario and Sandy Rosario had on him when they signed him. And obviously there were many others involved in that acquisition: Andrew Tennis, Tony LaCava, Perry Manasian, Alex Anthopoulos. There's been so many people that have influenced him and impacted him. And it's been very clear to me now as he transitions into Ben Cherington and Gil Kim's and Angus Mugford's leadership that he's ready. He is ready and he understands the magnitude of it.
Steve Simmons, Toronto
Hey,
Sun.
Steve?
Have you ever seen, you've been around baseball a very long time. Have you ever seen a day like this with this kind of
No.
build-up for one individual?
No, I never have. I was fortunate enough to be at Steven Strasburg's debut. It was somewhat similar, but this is like nothing I've ever seen. CC Sabathia was a great player. Francisco Lindor, and still is. And Francisco Lindor is a great player and was there for his debut. And I've seen a lot of great players transition, and I've never seen anything quite like this. No, I was still a very poor minor league baseball player when I.
Mike Harrington, Buffalo News.
Hey, Mike.
Two quick things. I'm interested in your thoughts on the way the organization kind of empowered Bobby Meacham to have a voice at the very end of this process. And then secondly, can you give us an update on Bo Bichette, if there's any surgery involved, what his timetable is?
Yeah. So, I mean, we believe wholeheartedly in empowering talented baseball people, and the hiring process and the development process of staff, and then ultimately ensuring that we're working together on our plans is important. And ultimately, Bobby did have a ton of say in how he was improving every day and how he was getting better every day. And the baseball decisions, we talk about it all the time, and to decide when he's ready, it's really about trying to optimize all of the variables and make the best decisions to help with a young player's transition. And Bobby was a big part of that. His baseball experiences and the players that he's been around, the way that he sees a game. If you think about baseball staffers, just how much, and everyone in this room for the most part, just how much baseball we watch. And then if you think about someone who played it their entire life and was in it at a 162 game, as much as Bobby Meacham, his baseball experiences had a massive influence and impact on Vladdy. With Bo, there was no surgery that will be needed. His time frame is in the 4 to 6 week period, and we're very hopeful that he pushes that envelope for us. Shai?
Hey Ross, Shai Davidi, Sportsnet. As Vlad transitions to the major leagues, can you put into context what this means for the wider rebuild of this team as you look to develop a core that's going to contend in the future, and what is his significance of his role within that rebuild?
Yeah, you know what I think about is the thing I said earlier on is his how whether it's his warmth or how much teammates embrace him and care about him and like being around him is potentially, if his performance is even near what some people think it will be, and ultimately what we think it's going to be as well, that level of warmth and connectivity and bringing people together is, in our view, very, very powerful. So Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette, Brandon Drury, Lourdes Gurriel, Teoscar Hernandez, many, many more have an impact on this clubhouse, and we ultimately feel that that Vladdy's impact is going to be a very powerful one, because there aren't many guys I've been around like Vladdy that, the Dominican culture, many of you know it well, but the way that Vladdy thinks about and lives the baseball life is a very positive thing for his future, because he loves it so much. And there's not a guy in that clubhouse that doesn't love baseball. But Vladdy's passion for baseball is exceptional. I still can see him, 2016, we're in the Florida State League watching the Florida State League, the Dunedin Blue Jays play. He's currently in extended spring training. His day's been done since about 3 in the afternoon, and he came to watch the game that night with one other player. But there was 2 players watching the game that night, and he was one of them as a 17-year-old, just embracing the game, enjoying the game. And it's so realistic to him. I think, having grown up in the clubhouse, it's just so realistic to him to think about him not just making an impact and playing, but being great and being exceptional. And that you don't come across that often, and we're very fortunate as an organization to have that potential.
Some other examples of how he lives that, thinks the game, lives that baseball life that can translate?
Yeah, I think it's very much part of the Dominican culture too. So you wake up and you train, and then you watch. And if it's not just Vladimir Guerrero, there's so many Dominican baseball players and scouts. The scout I mentioned, Luciano Del Rosario, his daily routine is to wake up and probably be at a field watching several tryouts and as many as 100 baseball players in one day. And in the winter, he'll go home and watch another baseball game that's on TV in the Caribbean Baseball Federation. And in the summer, he's watching Major League games. And it's just so much a part of his life and who he is that in turn turns into comfort and instincts that we throw around those words all too often, but they are real and they are significant. And Vladdy is not too comfortable, but comfortable in this environment. He feels at home in this environment. That makes other people feel comfortable. And then his instincts on the field are phenomenal because of all of those reps. It's not just the physical reps, but the mental reps that's ingrained in the Dominican culture.
Ross, Scott MacArthur with
Scotty.
Sportsnet 590, The Fan. Today feels like a bit of a tipping point in terms of the next wave coming through. So I'll acknowledge this question is specifically about Cavan Biggio, but how do you go about determining when a specific player is ready to join the big league team?
So the variables are performance, teammate, process, and then alternatives. How does that impact the player that's there? So it's not just the performance of a player in AAA, it's the performance of the players here. And what does that mean for who's coming and going, and how real is the playing time? We made a tough decision. Richard Arena has been a very good player for us this year. When he's been here, he's been exceptional at shortstop, and we had to make a tough decision for him to go down because of our alternatives that are here, and because we want to make sure as a 23-year-old he gets regular playing time. So the variables that it usually is, it only becomes more and more difficult where you have so much depth that you don't have the same opportunities. And you can see that happening in some organizations. We're not quite there yet. We are getting very close to being there. But with the Los Angeles Dodgers, with the amount of depth that they have, and not even having regular playing time for certain players, that's where we want to be. We want that to be a problem where those decisions become very, very difficult for us. And Cavan Biggio is off to an incredible start, and if he continues that, we're going to have to start considering those things.
Ross, from a conditioning preparation standpoint, day to day, how have you seen Vladdy's preparation evolve, even in recent weeks, and how much more must it still evolve to become the best defensive player in particular that he could be?
Yeah, he's been great. He's worked extremely hard. His routines from the setbacks that he's had, when they've been either soft tissue and then one knee injury that, fortunately they're minor, but his routines have gotten better each time. And everything's about education. It's just an understanding the importance and the value of the consistency and the discipline in and around those routines, and his have only gotten better.
Hi, Ross. John Lott, The Athletic. There are all kinds of projections out there on all kinds of prospects. You mentioned earlier the performance expectations that the Blue Jays have. What specifically are those projections that you have for the short term, like this year, and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, you know, at this point, now that he's here, our plan is for him to stay here. So our expectations would be that he's not getting exposed and that he's not changing his approach. And that will be our performance expectations. And we know that in time, if he doesn't do that, and if he sticks to what he's good at, that the talent and the track record and his experiences and instincts will turn into performance. So the only thing that would cause us to alter a plan from an expectation standpoint would be if he's not himself. If he starts to if he loses the plate discipline that he's had, or if he starts taking at-bats into the field or defense into his at-bats.
So you expect him to do what he did at Buffalo?
I mean, no, I expect him to have the same process and the same approach, and then that hopefully turns into similar results.
Ross, it's Jamie Campbell from Sportsnet. At the time that Guerrero was being scouted, prior to his signing with this organization, you were still with Cleveland. Do you remember the perception of him at that time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was obviously, I mean, a very big signing bonus, and very much aware of his presence and how good he was going to be and how special he was.
Scott Mitchell again, TSN. When you think about lineup construction, when you think about run creation, what does it do to have that cornerstone type bat in the middle of the lineup for Charlie and for the hitters around him?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously massive if he is that type of performer that he has been. That is what that means for the hitter before him and after him is we believe in. And I actually, when you look at number of pitches seen, if you have a lineup of multiple guys, the impact that even Eric Sogard has had on our current lineup with him seeing a lot of pitches and sometimes taking pitches that might be hittable, but having 4 and 5 pitch at bats and having 20 pitch nights. Grady Sizemore is a player I didn't mention when we were talking about great players at transition, but he was that type of player where he comes in and you look up and the guy saw 20 pitches every night. And we feel Vladdy has the chance to do that, and what that means to a starting pitcher, what that means, obviously, as I mentioned, to the hitter after him, and getting to a bullpen earlier. It is very powerful, and our hope is that one of the really exciting things, and one of the things we've talked so much about, is that it's not going to be just him. Our hope is that there is a large number of them that are seeing 20 pitches on a regular basis.
Rob Longley from the Toronto Sun. Both you and Charlie Montoyo have spoken about the need for further development at the major league level. First of all, how does that take place, and how do you manage his playing time in the near term with the big team?
So great question, Rob, and it will continue here. I think one of the things he hasn't experienced is playing on AstroTurf on a regular basis. So we want to see how that impacts him and what that means from a recovery standpoint, and that will have a big part in determining how much he's playing. Our plan is to play him on a very regular basis. At the same time, he has, I think, roughly 50 plate appearances this year. We want to make sure that we're smart about it and that he ends up with a great number of major league plate appearances this year. So there will be some progression, and the development will absolutely continue. I think, we've talked a lot about this in the past, but the Major League Baseball culture has evolved, and it has shifted to expect development at the Major League level. And it wasn't long ago that, Major League managers and executives were quoted saying development needs to be done when they get here, and it's all about winning. And we feel that there can be some combination of the two, and development's never done. There's always challenges to be presented, and from a physical standpoint, he is going to be focused on his routines to maximize all of the athleticism, his footwork and power. The offensive standpoint, we want him to be himself, and defensively will be a lot dictated by that agility and first step quickness, and then getting accustomed to AstroTurf and balls that are being hit like he hits them. There's a lot of guys that hit the ball hard in the major leagues, and not quite as many like Vladdy in the minor leagues. Marley?
Ross, you said before that this is like nothing you've ever seen, the hype. How? Can you
Well, I've just never
speak to
seen
that?
this level of attention in and around a guy making their debut. I mean, I wasn't on the Strasburg side of it. I think, Francisco Lindor was near that, but it's nothing I've ever seen. There's probably some other executives that, maybe when Acuna made his debut, and I think it's because it's such a good thing for baseball that our fans and everyone is so much more aware of minor league talent. And for great reasons, because of now being able to watch minor league baseball on TV, the incredible job that this room and rooms across the game are doing of sharing information with our fans about young players is another big reason. But I think this story is an exceptional one too. The guy's born in Quebec. His dad's a Hall of Famer, as I said. He's coming to Toronto in Canada to play and make his debut, and he happens to be the best prospect in baseball. So that's an unusual combination. And the other thing is that he's just so well liked. He's just easy to pull for. He's easy to like, and he hasn't met the teammate that he doesn't like, and a teammate hasn't met him that isn't in love with him. So that's all of those things are creating somewhat seemingly exceptional.
Ross, over the last year or so, we've seen some players from the international market who have made their debuts at a pretty young age. Just wondering what you think of the importance of the international market right now, and whether there's been a shift at all in baseball to like a willingness to move these guys through the system a little bit quicker.
It is amazing, and I think it's what I was speaking to before. The Dominican baseball culture is awesome. It brings a lot of coaches and executives that go there for the first time to tears. The love for baseball in the Dominican Republic, and that's a very big part of the international landscape. And I think that offices now, or coaches, everyone in baseball just has a better understanding and confidence to give younger players an opportunity a little bit sooner than we did 10 years ago, and that is influencing that. So there's a lot of variables, though. There is a lot of variables to that.
Ross, you talked about his routines and things like that, and obviously the work to be done defensively. Internally, have you guys talked about a potential switch to first base, knowing the comparables that people in this room have talked about, and is he aware of that potential?
Yeah, and just for some context, we would be talking about those routines. It's not that we're concerned about his defense, is that we want him to be an all-star third baseman that pitchers love, that he's playing third base, and everyone feels like he's one of the better defenders in the game. And so shooting for that means that he's going to have to see it that way, to be exceptional not only as a hitter but also as a third baseman, and really striving for that. No, we have not had discussions about him transitioning off of that position.
Along those lines, Ross, where do you guys assess Vlad Jr. right now as a third baseman?
Fair question, Ben. I think there's growth and development there. I think he has so much arm strength and so much confidence. He has exceptional hands, so he's going to make great plays, and he's going to make routine plays. I think he's going to learn that the clock's a little bit different here. He's got different base runners to learn. He's got different surfaces to play on, and as I mentioned, the ball gets hit harder more frequently here. So, is he somewhat below average amongst major league third basemen? We'll see. I mean, he could come here and perform as an average third baseman, but we want him to be great, and we're shooting for him to be exceptional, not just average. Great questions.
Any further questions?
Yeah, awesome. It's a great day, really, really exciting. I've had a smile on my face all day, and it's great to see all of you. Thanks for your questions and time, and see you outside.
Thanks, Ross.
Unless someone else has another question. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Anybody else? All right. Thank you.
And we'll take a quick break, and just a reminder, we'll start the media availability with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at 3:15. Here. All right, it's my pleasure to welcome Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and interpreter Hector Lebron. We'll start with English questions first and Spanish towards the end. Before we get started, we'd like to hear from Vlad.
Bueno, primeramente le quiero dar las gracias a Dios, a mi familia, a la gente dominicana y al equipo por darme la oportunidad de jugar en el mejor béisbol del mundo.
Well, first, I want to thank God. I want to thank my family, my people in Dominican Republic, and of course, the entire Blue Jays organization for giving me the opportunity to play the best baseball in the world.
First question.
Hi, Vlad. Can you just take us through the moment that you found out and how you celebrated it and who you told first and how you celebrated with your teammates?
Que le diga cómo has celebrado desde que supiste que te subieron a Grandes Ligas, si has tenido el tiempo de celebrar con tu compañero.
Bueno, yo creo que primeramente fue llamar a mi familia, tratar de hablar con ellos, tratar de conseguir que ellos puedan estar aquí. Yo creo que mayormente más ahora hoy sí he tratado de adaptarme con mi equipo.
Well, first thing I did was call my family. I told my entire family to make sure that to get here to Toronto to see me play in the first game. And I haven't had the chance to talk too much to my teammates because, I mean, everything happened so fast, but eventually I will during the day-to-day.
Vlad, congratulations. I'm wondering, you showed up today to the stadium wearing your father's Expos jersey. What was the thinking behind that tribute?
Se dieron cuenta que llegaste al parque usando la camisa del viejo de los Expos. ¿Cuál fue la razón de eso?
Bueno, yo creo que la razón fue como desde pequeño estuve con mi papá en los Expos. Yo creo que traté de revivir eso, ¿sabes? De tratar de ser como era pequeño y de volver a un club de Grandes Ligas.
It was more like an honor of my dad. Since I was a kid, I was running around with my dad in the clubhouse in Montreal, and I just wanted to bring that back today.
Hi, Vlad. You can hear me okay? Right over here. Hi, welcome to Toronto. Ross Atkins says you're well aware of the excitement and the hype surrounding today. How do you balance the pressure with the high expectations set by this organization and the high expectations fans in the city have of you?
Cuando hablaron ahorita con Ross, ¿cómo tú vas a controlar las grandes expectativas? ¿Cómo tú vas a tener ese balance, sabiendo que toda la gente lo que espera de ti?
Bueno, como te digo, yo lo que trato de dar mi 100%, de dar lo mejor de mí y tratar de hacer mi trabajo, ¿sabes? Si yo hago mi trabajo, todo va a salir bien.
I'm just gonna give my 100%, the best I can do, and if I do that, everything's gonna be okay.
Vlad, when you walk up to the plate tonight, I'm sure you've thought about that first Major League plate appearance a lot. What do you expect the motions to be like, and how do you control those?
Cuando vayas para tu primer turno hoy, sabemos que vas a tener emoción. ¿Cómo vas a controlar esas emociones?
Bueno, como te digo, eso es lo único, lo bueno que tiene el equipo, que cada uno me dice que el mismo juego, y ya que ellos tienen, hay gente aquí que tiene más experiencia que yo y me dicen que el mismo juego, y si ellos lo dicen es porque el mismo juego.
Pretty much, like I've been talking to my teammates to say that it's all the same, AAA, the big leagues, same game. So to try to control my emotions that way, then if I do that, I'm gonna be okay.
Vlad, obviously you were born in Montreal. Your dad played for several years for the Expos, and now you're set to begin your career here in Toronto. What does it mean to you to play in Canada, and just talk about your connection to this country?
Obviamente, tú naciste acá en Montreal, tu papá todos los años jugando en Montreal, ahora vas a hacer el debut en Canadá también, que eso representa para ti?
Bueno, representa una buena cosa, ¿sabes? Nací en Montreal, nací aquí en Canadá y yo creo que me siento bastante contento de venir y jugar aquí y debutar aquí donde nací.
Basically, I'm very happy, very proud of myself of making my debut here in Canada.
Congratulations. I know you're close to Kendrys Morales. What is it like for you having him here on the other side when you make your debut?
Ya sabes que tú eres bien close con Kendrys Morales. ¿Qué representa eso de tenerlo a él al otro lado del dugout el día de hoy?
Bueno, representa muchas cosas. Yo sé que él se va a sentir orgulloso como yo me siento de estar aquí y lo primero que hice fue cuando llegué aquí, después que trabajé, le envié un mensaje y estuvimos hablando y, ¿sabes? Se siente contento como si estuviera aquí en el equipo de Toronto todavía.
That was the first thing I did, send Kendrys a message, and he told me that he was very, very proud of myself, and, you know, I'm looking forward to see him tonight.
Hi. Hi, Vlad. Do you understand how strange this all is, this kind of attention, or is it normal for you already?
¿Entiendes toda esta tensión que estás teniendo? ¿Te coge sorpresa al momento? ¿Ya esto es normal para ti?
Bueno, sabes, como te digo, lo mío es trabajar y dar el 100% y tratar de ayudar al equipo a ganar. El resto de todo, ¿sabes? Se encarga la gente. Yo trato de hacer mi trabajo y dar lo mejor de mí en el terreno.
I'm just going to come here. I'm going to play hard, give my 100% for the team, help the team win, and whatever happens, happens.
Vladimir, here in the back. You and Bo Bichette exchanged messages on Instagram there. What's coming up? When Bo and Kevin and some of the rest of the guys come up, when it's time for your generation to be here in the big leagues, what do you think you guys will be capable of at this level?
Sabe que tú y Bo intercambiaron mensajes hoy, ¿qué tú esperas cuando suba Bo, Bichette y del resto de la generación tuya? ¿Qué tú esperas del equipo? ¿Cómo se va a poner?
Bueno, sabes, son cosas que uno no puede controlar, ¿me entiendes? Lo que nosotros controlamos es jugar fuerte y yo creo que cuando a ellos les toque, le va a tocar igual que a mí, ¿sabes? Son momentos que el equipo toma la decisión y lo que hay que dejarlo, que ellos sigan jugando así como están jugando bien y el momento de ellos llegará.
Well, there's things that I cannot control. Bijo, Bichette, they're all playing great, and whenever they turn to be in the big leagues, comes up, then we'll be all right.
Vlad, who told you that you were coming up and how did you get told?
¿Quién fue que te dijo que tú venías para acá, para la Grande Liga?
El manager de AAA, Bobby Mitch, ¿sabes? Comenzamos hablando normal y él me dijo que yo tenía que mejorar bastante cosas y que ella no me podía ayudar y yo le hice la pregunta que por qué y él me dijo que yo tengo que venir aquí a Toronto a ayudar al equipo a ganar.
Well, actually, it was kind of like a joke. Bobby Mitchell told me that he called me to the office and told me that I had to improve my defense in third base. And I told him that I was okay, that I'll be here the next day. And he said, well, there's a problem. I won't be able to help you. You're going to the big leagues.
Vladdy, can you describe what the party's going to be like back home tonight and what this moment means in the Dominican for the people that are close to you?
¿Tú puedes escribir el party que va a haber en Dominicana hoy? ¿Qué significa este momento para tu gente allá?
Bueno, no te puedo decir, ¿sabes? No te puedo decir. Después del juego quizás te pueda decir porque ellos todavía no me han visto actuando. Cuando ellos me vean actuando quizás se van a sentir mejor y la cosa será diferente.
I don't know yet. I'm not sure. They haven't seen me play, but maybe after the game, it's going to be a big party in Dominican.
Vladimir, John Morosi, MLB Network. What did your grandmother, Altagracia, cook today for you, and what has she meant to you in your life?
Tu abuela, ¿qué te hizo hoy? Tu abuelita Altagracia, ¿qué te hizo hoy de comer y qué significa ella en tu vida? Bueno, significa bastante. Cuando se habla de ella, se habla de la familia completa. Pero hoy no pude comer de la comida porque todavía no he encontrado apartamento. Todavía no estoy instalado en un apartamento, pero como quiera, teniéndola a ella y a mi familia al lado, yo creo que yo me siento bien.
Well, basically, she means the world to me, and we haven't cooked today. Today we couldn't cook because we haven't had an apartment yet. We're still in the hotel, but we will.
Vladimir, congratulations. Welcome to Toronto. Is it fair that the fans expect you to be a superstar? Is that too much pressure to put on you on your first debut and with the major leagues? Should we just let you be a baseball player, or is it fair to let you to expect you to be the baseball player?
¿Tú crees que es fair que ya la fanaticada piense que tú ya tú vas a ser una superestrella ya de una vez arrancando? Bueno, sabes, yo lo que voy a tratar es de controlar lo que yo puedo controlar, sabes, salir al terreno y dar lo mejor de mí, y en un tiempo lo que yo haga hablará por sí solo.
I'm just gonna give my 100%. I'll give the best of me, and with the time we'll see what happens.
Vlad, you've had the opportunity to be with your father in a major league stadium. Now today, the shoe is on the other foot. What does this day mean to your dad, and what advice did he have for you going into this game, your first game in the big leagues?
Tuviste la oportunidad, ¿verdad? Cuando pequeño estar con tu papá. Cuando él jugaba, ahora la cosa se cambió. Ahora él está aquí contigo. ¿Qué tú crees que esto significa para tu papá de momento? Bueno, yo creo que lo mismo que yo siento, lo siente él también, y significa bastante, ¿sabes? Significa bastante, y lo que él me dijo para hoy, yo creo que siga haciendo mi trabajo y que siga jugando como yo juego, que con Dios delante todas las cosas van a salir bien.
He's very proud of myself, and he just told me to go out there, do my best, that things are going to be fine.
Vladdy, over the past couple of years, the Blue Jays have given you lots of things to work on. Where do you feel as a player you've made the most progress?
En los pasados años la organización te ha puesto a trabajar en diferentes cosas de defensa. ¿Dónde tú entiendes que has progresado más? Yo creo que he progresado en todo, ¿sabes? No tengo mayoría. Yo creo que un poco más la defensa, ¿sabes? Porque mayormente le hemos dado mucho enfoque y mucho empeño en la defensa, y todavía lo sigo haciendo, ¿sabes? Porque el juego no solamente batear, sino tú también tienes que jugar defensa y saber hacer tu cosa en la defensa.
Defense. I mean, we're trying to put a lot of emphasis on the defense. We've seen a lot of progress, and I'm going to continue to work very hard on my defense.
¿Qué tú crees que estás haciendo como que tú trabajas mejor que antes? En todo, ¿sabes? En todo, en la reacción, en el alcance, en todo.
Everything. Reaction, throws, everything. Ground balls, everything.
Vlad, what message did Bobby Meacham give you about going to the big leagues? Maybe at the moment you got called up, or maybe in the time you were there this year. And secondly, do you find it kind of funny the way social media exploded over the home run in Pawtucket going out into the parking lot? I mean, does that strike you at all?
Primero, ¿qué mensaje te dio Bobby Mitchell? ¿Por qué te dijo que te iba a ganar la liga? Y entiendo que después toda la media salió afuera para el parking, explotó todo eso cuando salió. ¿Qué pasó ahí? Bueno, yo creo que el consejo que me dio fue que siga haciendo lo que yo vengo haciendo en AAA y en AA, y nada, lo del jonrón fue o sea, yo no sabía que iba a llegar tan lejos. El equipo fue que mi team fue que me lo dijeron, yo no sabía que, porque yo le doy a la pelota y no la miro, ¿sabes? Y ellos fue que me dijeron que llegó así tan lejos.
He didn't know. I didn't know how far that ball went, My teammates was the one that told me because when I hit the ball, I don't know how far I hit it. Then Bobby told me to just basically to keep working very hard, to keep what I did in AA and AAA.
Vlad, as you made your way up through the minor leagues, were there major league players who you especially enjoyed watching or who inspired you, and maybe that you would like to see some of their game in your game once you're playing up here?
Cuando iba subiendo para Grandes Ligas, hubo unos jugadores especiales de Grandes Ligas que tú te gustaba mirar para aprender de ellos, y ahora que están en Grandes Ligas los sigues admirando. Bueno, yo siempre, ¿sabes? Siempre admiraba a Adrián Beltré. Yo creo que es una de las personas que me ha puesto a mí a trabajar más en tercera, y yo creo que todavía lo sigo admirando. Se retiró, pero lo sigo admirando todavía.
I always admire Adrian Beltre. Helped me a lot in third base. So even that I'm in the big leagues, I'm going to still admire Adrian Beltre.
Vlad, one of the areas you're different from your dad is your plate discipline. You won't swing at a lot of pitches outside the strike zone. Who taught you that, and were you like that even as a kid? Were you always a patient hitter even as a young kid?
Una de las cosas que se habla de ti que tú no le das swing a bola mala. ¿Quién te enseñó eso? Y si tú estás desde chiquito, tú ya sabes eso, no tirarle la bola mala. Bueno, yo creo que de pequeño fue que lo aprendí. Nadie me lo enseñó. Una vez dejé de hacerle swing a bola mala porque una vez le hice un swing a un piconazo y la bola rebotó del bate y me dio la nariz, y ahí dejé de hacerle swing a bola mala.
Nobody taught me like how to swing out balls. So one day I swung at a ball, and the ball basically hit me in my nose. So that's when I stopped really swinging at bat balls.
How old was he when that happened?
7 años. 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years old.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Spanish?
Vladimir, sabemos que hay muchos fanáticos en República Dominicana y alrededor del mundo hispano totalmente que están siguiendo tu carrera, han seguido lo que has hecho. ¿Qué mensaje les mandas a ellos de lo que tienen que hacer para llegar al nivel que estás llegando tú ahorita?
Que trabajen fuerte y siempre confíen en Dios, que Dios es el que quita y que pone, y si Dios quita, quita, y si Dios pone, Él es el que pone.
Vladimir, cuando usted estaba en AAA y veía los medios de comunicación, veía small banners, pequeños carteles donde el público lo pedía, ¿qué pensaba por su mente en ese momento cuando el equipo no lo llamaba a la Grande Liga?
Bueno, lo que me pasaba por la mente era que yo trataba de controlar lo que yo puedo controlar, ¿sabes? Ellos controlaban eso y yo controlo lo que yo controlo es salir al terreno y dar lo mejor de mí. Pero ya el momento llegó y gracias a Dios estamos aquí.
Okay, thanks, Vlad.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.